Hello and welcome. This is DrShiny Tarot. We're going to be doing some monthly readings for every star sign. If you haven't already, please check out the introduction video, which explains a little bit about my approach to tarot and gives you a little extra information. We're going to do your Celtic Cross today, and let's go ahead and get started. So, and I'll go through each of these as we go through the reading. Now, traditionally, the last card goes on the top, but we're going to put it to the side right here because I don't have a lot of space on this desk. So, your current situation today is the Chariot in the reverse. The Chariot deals with energy surrounding accomplishment, and specifically in kind of the home and the society realm. So in this actual artwork, the figure on the Chariot is kind of leaving the city behind, the city where he came from. He's ready to approach new horizons and tackle sort of a larger world than he currently came from. This is an energy kind of like when you are a child who is anxious to get out on your own, leave for your own home and going off to college, that kind of thing. Or it can mean that you're kind of burnt out at work and you're ready to move on to some bigger and better things. There's a sense of accomplishment and there's a sense of power with this. Now, in the reverse, which is your current situation, this can mean that you're kind of stuck in your current ways. You're kind of clinging to a situation you've kind of outgrown because you're perhaps, comfortable, not really afraid. There's not a sense of afraid. It's more of just kind of what you're used to, and you don't really necessarily want to give it up, right? So what's influencing you or what's crossing you is the Four of Cups in the reverse, which is a sort of getting hung up on some sort of something not going the way that you want it to go. Maybe not quite a loss, but there's an unsatisfied, or you're dissatisfied with what you have, even though it might be enough. And there is a sort of in the artwork, there's a hand reaching out from out of nowhere, really, with a new cup, and the figure can't even really see it because he's too busy being a little bit down, and focusing on the negative instead of what else is around and what's available, and not really being in the moment. So this is kind of weighing on you, and you're very likely in a situation that's better than you think it is, but there is still more out there, and no one can really fault you for wanting to experience, the full measure of life and not just the same old routine or whatever is going on that's just business as usual. So in the recent past, there is the Magician in the reverse, which can kind of represent maybe arrogance or so the magician typically involves being able to manifest whatever it is that you're imagining really well, really effectively. He uses all of the wand. In this one card, there's wands, swords, cups, and pentacles or coins, which represents the sort of balance of all the elements. So it's kind of like a flow state. In the reverse, this can be kind of a little bit of a character flaw where you look down on others sometimes, or have some arrogance, or you're kind of just too full of yourself and your abilities. Your power is sort of got to your head, right? And this is the recent past. So in the past, it may be that you have really gotten to the point where you're better than a lot of those around you at whatever you're doing, your job or your field of study or something. And so that's what's kind of led to these feelings of like, I need to be doing more. I need to be a little bit in a more advanced position, right? So the future, or the near future for you, is the Six of Coins, and it's in the reverse as well. A lot of reverse cards in this reading. So there's a lot of hesitation I'm feeling, or resistance is really what it is. It's resistance to the flow of things in a way here. So the Six of Coins in the reverse is kind of not wanting to be open, or we're going to say a little bit miserly even. The Six of Coins is about generosity and having success and sharing with others that success. So it could be in this situation that what's being asked of you is for you to learn how to develop others and not to just focus on your own success and your own abilities, but to focus on developing your team as well. So in some atmospheres, they're not necessarily looking for you to be the best, but they're looking for some stability, and they're looking for you to develop the rest of your team as well. And it may be that once you begin doing that, you have more opportunities that come to you because you're doing what you really wanted of you, and not just what you want for yourself, right? So others in power are bound to notice that. So your foundation is the Hanged Man in the reverse. And now the Hanged Man is, it's kind of, it's a strange card, right? But it's one of my favorite cards, really. And it's about surrender and having this sort of lack of resistance to the struggle of things, but really you're kind of enlightened in the process, and so you're kind of giving up. You're allowing what is to just be, and there's a sense, of maybe initial suffering, but it kind of just disappears because of the surrender. Because the less you resist something, kind of the less it makes you suffer, right? So in this process, it's kind of like a clarity or an answer that shows you that really where those negative emotions come from is really the resistance itself. It's suffering is basically a resistance to the way things are, right? So the crowning thoughts, or what's on your mind, is the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups is a happy home. It's emotional fulfillment. This is sort of the end of the journey with the emotions, and cups represent emotions. And in this card, there is a happy scene going on. There's a home with children, and there's total fulfillment and really positive emotions. It's a great, great card. So it's obvious that what you're really after is, this happy home. So maybe focus on that a little bit more, and not so much on the means through which you obtain what you would think of as a happy home, because it's not just all about success or money or things like that. It's really about the quality of the time that you invest with people, and creating a family through being there. So your advice for the current situation, or sometimes it's your attitude for the current situation, is the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is it's very, very strongly associated with the home and with happiness in the home. Fours represent action, but wands represent actions, but fours represent sort of a period of rest. So fours have a little bit more of like you've done what you need to do, and now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's time to just be happy and celebrate, and create a happy home. So that's your advice for the current situation. It's telling you to focus really on that aspect of things, that whatever this endeavor is that's kind of got you feeling a little dissatisfied, turn your focus away from that a little bit and focus on what's important to you, and what around you is going right, right? What is going according to your hopes and desires and dreams, not just necessarily what's leaving you unsatisfied. The current environment is the Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords, this means that somewhere around you, there's pain. This pain is generally associated with a choice that's made. So the threes the swords are representative of thought, and with this, there was sort of a choice that had to be made, and along with that choice always comes the road that was left behind, right? So there's this feeling of kind of heartache or longing, or possibly like you had to leave somebody. But this is in your environment. This is not necessarily you. In fact, it's not you. This is someone around you is feeling this sort of heartache. So it may be that, this person needs a little bit of that happy home energy that you have to help them out, and it's always worthwhile to do that, because people, whether they consciously realize it or not, they're very grateful when you do help them feel better when they're hurting, and it's one thing when they're feeling, like they've got it under control, like they can do it themselves. A lot of times at that point, help feels a little bit condescending. But when a person truly hurting and truly needing some support, it can benefit you and them to lend a hand, So the Fears card is the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords is sort of a very rash character. He will rush into a situation, and he's very kind of sharp-tongued, not always very nice, but not necessarily somebody who's just like really, really mean. He's just kind of direct, right, and to the point, and a little scathing sometimes. But he is he's involved with thought, right? So he's kind of an intellectual guy who is a little less experienced, a little less, tempered than the knight or the queen or the king. He's just starting out on this journey, and he's a little bit, eager to get going. So he can jump into a situation sometimes without knowing all the facts, or he might think he knows all the facts because he is the Page of Swords. So he may think he knows what's going on, but he can have a tendency to sort of misstep. So this is in your Fears card. So either somebody above you is kind of, or when I say above you, somebody who has some power over you is kind of rash and doesn't really necessarily understand what's going on, and so you're worried about that, or you're worried about jumping into a situation yourself where you're being a little bit rash and you maybe haven't thought things all the way through. So that's in your Fears. And it's, I think it's always worth taking a pause and seeing what's going on. You wouldn't really be watching a tarot video if you weren't already doing that. So the message for me is that those fears may be a little bit unfounded, that you really are, it seems from the reading, a powerful person, and not in danger of kind of screwing yourself over. At least that's the idea that I get. Now, the total outcome or overall message is the Nine of Wands in the reverse. And now the Nine of Wands in the reverse, it has a sort of a tired energy, right? So this is, wands are action, and nines are right at the end of the cycle of action, right before, the final card, the 10. So the 9 is a little bit of exhaustion, right? But this is kind of telling you that when you really get to the end of this journey of action, you begin to see that there's really there's only one way to get through, and it's to push, push, push. It is to not give up. And this has got you feeling a little bit exhausted or a little bit down, as though maybe at one point you felt that there was this sort of light at the end of the tunnel where you were only going to have to work, hard for a little while, and maybe you would have some rest after that or something. But it's kind of looking to you like it's like a long journey ahead. And, it's okay that it's a long journey ahead. It's kind of what life is about. It's really the whole purpose of this situation is to learn to love that journey and not to just get hung up on a destination, right? So this is inviting you to take a little bit of rest and to recharge your batteries, take care of yourself, and really, go back into your situation with a fresh attitude, a fresh mind, and kind of see, can you derive more enjoyment from the situation than you have been? Is it possible that it's not as bad as you think it is, and you're just kind of a little bit restless? Also, take if vacation is an option, or even taking a few days off here or there, it may be time to do that. You maybe have saved up some days, and if you have, it may be time to use one for a little bit of self-care and a little bit of time to yourself. So it's a overall pretty cohesive reading, I think. And please, in the comments, let me know what you think, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to clear up with some further insight if something wasn't clear to you in particular. If it didn't ring a bell at all, I apologize, and it just wasn't for you today. Okay? Well, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys with next month's reading. This has been November's reading. Thank you.